Hi, everybody. This is Mimi from Be Heard and Empower Yourself with Erin Celise as my co-host because we're talking about self-publishing and we're both having crazy days. So hopefully a week. Yeah, crazy week. So how are you, Erin? How you doing?
Good. I'm good. I'm getting ready to go on a trip. I'm speaking at UC Santa Cruz tomorrow.
Wonderful. That's what I'm going on a trip too to get away from my husband for 4 days and 3 nights. But I need it. So, okay, guys, we're talking about writing, and a lot of people ask me about how I did it, and I did it by teaching myself how to do it. So that's what we talked about in the first couple of chapters. So let's talk about writing. Maybe it's your first book. I know what it was like for me. And one thing, like my first book is not a good example because it was a memoir. So I didn't have to think. I just had to remember. My second book, I had to do research because it was about discovering that I was half Irish and I never knew that. So I had to do research. So my books are all nonfiction. Okay. For me, that's my genre. Now, Erin, she writes fiction,
hmm
right, Erin?
Yes.
Yes. And she just self-published her first book.
I got
Oh,
through
show
it,
us.
Mimi. I did it.
Yes, I pushed her a little bit, but show us. Show us the cover
Here
because
is
it's
my book.
aligned.
Yep, I did the cover. It is
Yeah.
a 27 pages, and it's a
How
novel. I mean,
many? How
27
many?
chapters, not
I
27
gotta
pages.
say. Pages. So, and what did you do? What did you use? What program did you use to actually write the book?
Two actually, you mean,
Did you the program KDP?
oh, yes, not to write it, but to get it published. Yes, yeah.
That's what I mean.
So
So,
KDP, and then to get the paperback, I had to figure out how to get it all worked out in Word using their templates and then get it loaded directly up to Amazon KDP. So
KDP first, yeah. Yeah, that's what I did. I wrote it on Word so that I could use. See, KDP is wonderful, but it doesn't really have spell check and things like that.
no, none.
Not really.
No.
So I like to use Word first because then I can use spell check. I can use the thesaurus if I see that I'm using a word too much and I want to look for a different word. So that's where I do the first draft and then editing, of course. And I found out the hard way you cannot edit your own book. I
Yeah.
mean, did you edit your own book?
I edited my own book about 5 times, and then I did a first draft publish, I'll call it that, with just got ordered 10 copies, right? Kind of gave them away. Redid it again, but had people look at it, and that's when I was like, I should have done this first.
Yes.
There were just things in it that I didn't see. I mean, it was good for me to go through, like sit down with a hard copy and, you know, dog ear the pages and circle things because I knew the story, so I knew what to do. But yeah, having someone else go through it, they found other things. So this is the official, like,
Yeah.
final version. Um,
Yeah. And this is the thing. I did the same thing and I read through it a couple times and I thought it was great. Then when it published, I found some things. And then I gave the book to someone to read and edit for me, as a friend. I didn't pay for pay for anything. And she actually found things where she said, I don't get the transition here.
mhm.
Or I'm a little lost about what you're talking about from the last chapter, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
that's what we're going to talk about because in the beginning, you know, you should let your ideas just flow and just write and not think about anything. But when you're done with that, then you go in, of course, and you're going to pull in what you should have already we talked about that. Well, we talked about it in chapter 2, but I had to put up a summary because the internet ate our chapter.
So sad.
Yeah, it was such a good one too. But basically, yeah, you pour your heart out, but and let the words flow, and you don't worry about it in the beginning. And that's what the first draft is about. And then, like Erin said, you read it a couple times, and you really think that you got it.
Mhm.
But you need that other person to read it because your mind is thinking certain things, and you follow the story and think it's perfectly understandable and clear, and then to have someone say, "Oh, I don't get this. I don't know the relationship for sure." Things like that. So, and you had that happen, right?
Mhm.
They told you that.
Yeah, I mean the inconsistency, like it said she was standing there, and then a page later it said she stood up, but she never actually sat down. So
It was all right.
I didn't catch that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. She was already standing.
Yeah. So when you do that first, second draft, or what you think is the final copy, it's not meant to be perfect. It's going to be imperfect because you do need input from other people. And that is just the way it is. We're lucky enough now. You had someone read it. Was it a friend? You didn't have to pay them.
No, I didn't. I luckily have a couple editors in the family, which honestly, I didn't want to give it to them because I was like, okay, just go for it because you're going to find so many things. And, they wouldn't be able to read it for the story. They have to read it as editors because that's just what they do. But I was actually really grateful to get the feedback.
No, I know. You have to embrace your mistakes because you have to understand not only is it your first book, you know, it's your first or second draft. Hopefully you thought it was your final draft, and there are going to be some flaws that you miss, obviously. And it's not even typos. It's like I said, the flow of the story, and you think it's perfect. And they're going to say, wait a minute, you lost me in chapter 3, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened to me. You
And
too?
then I had some things, going through like the third and fourth edit where I wanted to rearrange some of the things because it made more sense for this to happen before something. And in one instance, I didn't erase the paragraph. I just moved it. And so it was in 2 spots, things like that. And I just didn't notice.
Oh, I did that. I did that in my 4th book, and the anatomy of an alien. And I was talking about starseed people, which we've talked to on our we do other topics. And one of them is about star seeds and Akashic records and all that stuff. So I wanted to explain that there was a book written in 1976 called Age of Aquarius, where they first talked about star seeds. Well, and they have the guy's name and everything. Turns out I wrote it 3 or 4 times through the book.
You really like that part.
I wanted to make sure they knew. And I just was not, for some reason, I don't know what happened there, but the guy I gave it to, he read it and he said, he told me what I did. And I thought, oh my gosh. But he said, once I got through that, I really liked the book. It was interesting and held my attention. It's just that you repeated that paragraph about 4 times. Now, how did I miss that? So I had to go back and now Word is good for finding, like you can type in Aquarius and it'll show you how many times it's in there. So that's good. Now I noticed KDP has a find box, but it doesn't seem to always work. Like,
No, it doesn't. When you load the book in and then it has to go through the checker, I guess it's called.
yeah.
And then you sign off and then they'll publish it. But it will give you a bunch of stuff. The first thing that I went through is that my margins were too wide and
Mhm.
it was, cutting off this much on either side. So then had to figure that out. So that was really good. And then I figured out how to do the template and just put the margins on my Word doc. I was like, I don't know. I figured it out and how to mirror pages so I could have wider
Yeah.
outside margins than inside. So that was good. And then I bought the copies, but I didn't buy them at retail, of course, because, they cost me $4 each, which is a good thing for people to know. You can buy authors' copies. You don't get credit or royalty for it, but that was a cheap way for me to share the physical copy with people.
But you did have to pay shipping.
Yes.
Now, because if you buy it, now I have Prime, so I don't pay shipping. So it's like,
Doesn't count though. I still paid.
it's kind of like, it comes out the same. You know what I mean? Because I'm
No,
not
mine
paying.
was still, it was, it was about half. I mean, it was $7 even with shipping.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, not a total loss, a little
Yeah.
money loss, but now I have a few extra copies because I don't want anybody to have those, but I might just
Yeah.
as, cheap off the rack.
The one,
Here's
the
John's
one
copies.
I have with the four paragraphs, I just put that on my bookshelf. Nobody has to read it. It just is that's a book I wrote there. It's not my bookshelf. So I did that. But so the other thing, like this last book too, they have a thing in KDP that says chapter detect chapters.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not detecting my chapters. I was going crazy. Never happened before. So I had to go back in and I found that I had to take the name of the chapter and have a subtitle. And I had to make both things say chapter. Like I had to title a chapter,
Mm-hmm.
even though it was crazy. I just had to play around with it until it would accept. It was not. It was accepting like a sentence is the body and saying, okay, this chapter's called, and after this happened. No, that's not the chapter. That was amazing. I don't know what I was doing wrong. It was my fourth time,
Hmm.
you know.
Did
But
you use Kindle Create to do that, or was that straight in? Yeah.
that was Kindle Create, and it was not detecting my chapters. So I just had to fool around with it until I found out how to put it, where to put it. But like again, I did it the first three times, so I don't know what it was. But I did it, and I got it done. I got the chapters finally.
Persevered.
But yeah, that's it. You have to be teachable.
Yes.
You want to send out a message, and you want to be a teacher. That's what writers are, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. There's a message. So you want to be the teacher, but you have to be teachable, right? Yeah, because I know you did it and I did it. We had to learn all these things about Kindle Create, that it even existed, which was wonderful when I found it. That was great. And yeah, I really like it. And like you said, when you're done, it says you're ready and you save it you have to make sure it's a KPF file at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last thing. And then you upload it to Amazon, and they make you go through it and everything and make sure that they're sending me messages. I'm busy. Anyway, that's good. And they have you go through it and then you can see like how your cover came out and things like that or changes. And this last time I finished the book. And after I finished the book, and it had to do with a lot of medical problems I had 3 medical problems within a month, which They found out I have tachybradycardia. Lovely, not just tacky or Brady, I have both. So I'm either at 40 or 110.
Oh,
So
geez.
oh yes, and I have it. The smartwatch tells me, and I was falling, and I found out that I wasn't falling; I was fainting.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's very serious. I already have AFib, so when the day after my trip, I am having a pacemaker put in. They want to do it right away, and I do too because I don't want to fall anymore. But that, and then my back. I had to have 3 injections, one in the hip, lumbar area, one in the groin, and then 2 days ago I had epidural injection, which not only was cortisone and pain medication, but numbing agent. And the best part of it is it might only last for a couple months, you know. So I will also be going to therapy, right? And what else? Oh, I had my shoulder replaced. Like this all happened. I said, I have to rewrite another chapter. I have to add another chapter. So I did. And when I saw, this is kind of funny, when I saw the pain doctor a couple days ago for the epidural, when I was leaving, I was talking to the girls. They're all excited about the book because they're all into alien stuff and, paranormal. So they can't wait. I said, I'm going to give you a book for your break room, and then you could take turns all reading it. So he heard that, and I said, oh, you're in the book. And he said to me, what's my character's name? And I said, it's your name, Dr. Westerhouse. And all the girls start laughing. I said, Doctor, this is a true story. And I put all the doctors' names in, good and bad. So, you're going to be good. You're one of the good.
He's like, oh, thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Oh, I have a bunch of JFK that are not good, but they're in there. So anyway, so I republished it. That's what I love about the Amazon creating thing, because then I could just go in there, go back to my upload that I originally did, and upload the new one. Just upload it. And then they say, we see you put something new. Let's preview it. And then you preview it, and make sure it's what you want in there. And that's good. And then within 72 hours, it's back on the stand. I love it. I mean, I think it's a great.
Yeah, it actually takes, or at least for me, took a lot of stress out of it, because it wasn't perfect the first time, but it was okay. I didn't have 100 copies or something sitting, in my garage of books that I didn't want to sell anymore. I could easily just go in. It's not a new edition, it's a new version. So the versioning, the cover stayed the same. Actually, it didn't. I added a couple words, so I was able to get a new cover and get all the manuscript updated. And it was even a little bit less than 72 hours, and and now I feel good. So
and that's the thing. You can think of something and say, oh, why didn't I put that in there? Well, you can. You could go in there and put it in there. And I really like that. It makes it very easy. But again, you got to stay motivated, because if you're having a problem, you can't figure out, how am I doing this? Well, go to Copilot and ask. I mean, seriously, that Copilot thing that came out with is great. Another free thing. There's a couple versions. Do you have a Copilot on your computer?
I do, but I don't use Copilot. That's not my favorite.
Not to write, but to ask how to do something. Like I'd say, okay, I'm trying to write on Kindle Create and I can't get it to do this. That kind of thing.
Use it as Google. Yeah.
It's just like Google. It's a little bit more, it gives you a little more details. I mean, it'll tell you step by step. It's like talking to another person. And I forget what I asked. I asked it something the other day, and that's good, because I might have took an hour to figure something out. And I asked Copilot how to do it, and he told me, and it was about an editor looking up something. It's not, I don't want AI to write my books. I don't need them to, because mine are, they're nonfiction. So I don't need that, right? And I hope a lot of people aren't going to do that, because some people might see it as an easy way to make money.
Yeah, they already do. I mean, there's good ways to use it and bad ways to do it. And I have courses about that.
Yeah.
And I've written about it. But
yes. Well, and you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. But most people don't have enough AI literacy, and here we go on the AI thing again. They don't have enough AI literacy. Everybody thinks they know how to use it, but they don't. But they think they do, and so they don't really want to learn how to use it. And then they either put things out that are just awful, or I don't know. It doesn't work out well. So anyway, there are conscious ways to use AI and how you do things.
Yeah.
And that's still yours, you know?
It's ethical and moral to ask it a question like, where can I find this? Or how can I adjust something in this chapter? And you're not like having them write the book for you. You're just asking like technical things once in a while. Usually I can figure it out, you know? But that chapter thing was driving me crazy that I wouldn't pick it up. But I got it. Finally, perseverance. You have to do that. You have to stay motivated and you have to celebrate the small wins. Like when you do figure something out, you know, give yourself a little pat on the back because for me, I'm 77 years old and this is keeping my mind working because that's what they tell you when you get older. You know, I'm not going to sit and do crossword puzzles. This is more exciting for me, you know? And don't you feel like this is, I mean, I know you do speaking engagements, you do a lot of things, but I think writing is your love, your first love.
I do like it. I like creating courses though, honestly.
That too?
That is something I do. Yeah.
But that's creating again, the creative part of it.
It's all creation. I mean, I have a degree in math, so I spent a lot, well, 4 years of college doing math and then computer science and then teaching math. But I always said that math was one of the most creative things I did. And people are like, well, you know, there's creativity in the way you do things if you're doing them in a way that is making you think and engage and figure out a new way to solution. Yeah.
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 And I never embraced it, but I've heard it and said, okay, but my mind, you know, the way my mind works, you know, everybody's different. And I think I'm more of a visual person. And someone told me that once because they asked me something and I had to think about it. And I closed my eyes and they said, you had to visualize. I said, yeah, you know, that's how I think sometimes, you know, I have to close my eyes. And so I think images and that kind of thing speaks to me more than math would, you know.
Yeah, I'm a visual learner, but I mean, I think the reason that I did really well with kids with learning disabilities is because I can understand how it isn't easy, you know?
Yes.
Yet I spent half my career doing math.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's amazing. Well, I didn't start writing until I was 72 years old. So, you know, it's never too late to have a new career or change things that you do. And I really believe that when the COVID thing happened, that a lot of people looked deep into their soul and said, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden it was like you can't go to work. You're working on from the computer. You have more time on your hands, and you say, is this what I really want to do for the rest of my life? And a lot of people quit their jobs and started new careers.
Yeah. A lot of people kind of had to because they lost their job. Yeah.
Well, I was a caregiver and I couldn't leave the house for 9 months because I have autoimmune disease and all this stuff. And my husband's stage 4 Parkinson's. So we weren't going to go out there because that first 9 months, they didn't even know how you got it. Was it from touching something or, you know, it was a little scary. And I got depressed. And that's how I started writing. And it did help my depression. Yeah. And then once I found out I had that talent, it was there all this time. I just never accessed it. You know, I've heard a story the other day about someone that, same thing. They never painted or anything, and they were in some kind of a program for, you know, maybe it was addiction or whatever. And they had an art class, and this person said, I don't know how to do that stuff. And I said, oops, put the paint on the paper. And it turned out they were artistic as heck and came up with these beautiful pictures. See, you have talents. If you don't explore your psyche, your soul, and I think you'll agree with me because you talk about joy, soul, living, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to look into yourself and say, well, you know, I don't think I can do this, but let me try. Let's see, right? Yeah.
There's absolute value in the process, especially when you don't tie an ending to it, where it's, I'm going to do this thing and it's going to turn out perfect. Well, if that's your only reason you're doing it, then you're probably going to be disappointed. But if you're doing it to be there in the moment and create whatever you're creating, you are probably helping your brain, your soul, your emotions.
Definitely in my case, for sure. And then I wanted to do audiobooks, but my heart problems and different things caused me to get breathless.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I couldn't narrate the book myself. And I told our listeners I was going to tell them the website I used to find a narrator for free. And it is ACX, capital A as in apple, capital C as in carrot, and capital X as in x-ray.com. And what you do is you go there and you ask if anybody wants to narrate your book. You upload a chapter, and the people out there that are looking for books will respond. And you might get 10, 20 responses. And what they will do is read that chapter for you, record it so you can hear their voice. And if you like it, then you're going to make a deal. If you say, no, I'm sorry, you're not quite the right tone, that's okay. And so my first book, Talia, what's her last name? Ambrose, Talia Ambrose. She narrated it for me. And we did a profit share. So every Audible book that got sold, she would get a percentage. So it didn't cost me anything. And I wanted to share that with you. Now, if you want to do an Audible book, you might want to look into that yourself.
That's actually an Amazon website.
It's another Amazon website. Yes, ACX. Yeah. So that was great. And in fact, I had my the book about unearthing my Irish roots, finding I was Irish and everything. I got Nancy German, and she narrated it. Same deal, So I've been very happy with that. So I have 2 Audible books out there, and it didn't cost me anything. And every once in a while, I get a check. Yeah. And it might be $7 for one person, but whatever. So I'm getting 7 and she's getting 3 maybe, So people, if you want to do an Audible, there you go. That's how you do that. The other thing I did was I wanted my books translated into Spanish and Italian. And that's another website, and it's called Babbel.com, not Babbel Cube. Babbel Cube is a translation website, okay? Babbel.com is like the one we just talked about, ACX. So you go on there,
How is that spelled?
You can send them a chapter, and they read it.
There's also Babbel, which is like Duolingo.
Oh, I
don't think you're talking about that one.
BEL.com. I could be wrong. Okay. Are you looking it up as we speak?
Yeah. So you can learn a language on Babbel.com. I don't see a place where you can get a book.
That's not the right one. The name is similar, so I'm going to have to look that one on the next time.
So yes, don't go to Babbel.com or you're going to learn French, not get a book.
But do that. But the name is very similar, so I have to go look it up. I'll go look up my Spanish and Italian. So that was good. Now, that wasn't narration. That was just doing the books in
Right.
Spanish. Yeah. So again, it was a profit sharing thing. Yeah. So I have it out there in every format you can imagine.
It is.
And a couple languages.
And you said it's not Babel Cube?
I don't think so. No.
That is the one.
Oh, it is?
And then there's Babel Translate. Anyway, yes, we'll look it up and get back to you, but
Yeah, because it's so similar to that, the Babel part, but we'll find it. But we gave you the one that's real important, I think, the ACX, you know, to have a narrator, because then you get the audio book, and that's great. A lot of people they rather listen to the book than read it.
yes, they would. That is most people I know these days, I would say, when they say they read a book, then they go, well, I didn't read it, I listened to it. I'm like, that's fine. You're still consuming knowledge. I mean, audio or visual. It's
Whoopi Goldberg, she'll tell you that she only does Audible.
Yep.
I don't know if she's dyslexic or whatever it is, but she does Audible. So, yeah. So what else can we add to this conversation? Because I know you have another gig in a couple minutes. So how do we want to close this out?
I think I would say we've kind of talked about the hardships and kind of how to get through the actual writing process. But then there's the secondary part, which is like the technical part, which is, okay, how do I now get this out in the world? And, you know, whether or not you like Amazon, big box, whatever, it is an easy way to self-publish. It is a really nice in to get yourself out there. I was looking at, could this book go somewhere else? And yes, it can, since if you self-publish on Amazon, if you really wanted to go sell it, although I think that is a really hard way to go, is to get it into a publishing house or publishing company, but you can. There won't be any proprietary rights to Amazon for your book. You can still get it out there. So,
and Amazon, I believe, also lets you have it on Barnes and Noble. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is one of the places where they have it on Barnes and Noble online, not in the bookstore, but online. So, like, if I was going to do a book signing, I did a book signing in my hometown. So everybody that came to the book signing had a book. They bought it already. There was a few people that didn't. I had about 10 or 12 books with me because I was flying. How many books can I take? But the Barnes and Noble thing, I would probably have to ask them if they were willing to put a few books on the shelf, and I would probably have to buy some books to do that. And also, I would have a sign-up sheet that if I ran out of books or whatever, you can order this online. Here's where you go. So I've only done a couple of that signings. I did one in a little coffee shop that was lovely, and I put my book in their coffee shop. A lot of places do that. Like cute little restaurants, if you go in, you see books. So I have put my book in about 3 little restaurants and sold. Like the woman called me and said, I sold 2 of your books today.
Nice.
I'm like, yeah, there's ways. Now we're getting into marketing, so I'll stop.
That's another day.
That's another game, right? Another show. Well, I hope, if nothing else, we are teaching people about being okay with mistakes and imperfection and seeking other people to help you. You can't do everything alone. It's better to get a little help. And like you said, it's a process, but there are some really great free things out there, but you got to find them. So we just gave you a couple.
Yeah.
Talked a couple. And I think the ACX is a good one too for once you've written your book and you're thinking about doing autumn. So you're going to end the show today because we're using your Zoom because mine's not working.
Nobody knows. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Mimi. As always, pleasure to talk to you. Yeah, I'm excited that we are doing this. I'm excited that you pushed me and that we can help others. And I hope if nothing else, then you go, hey, I think I could do it too. That's kind of what I want people to be able to say is, yeah, I could do it too. You can.
And I love that we are so flexible and we just are kindred souls because we have other topics we do too, because we talk about, like I said, Akashic records and the star seeds. And then we have a third one that talks about your program actions, ACTIONS. And I'm doing that with you live and I'm on O. So, when I tell people, when you go on my podcast channel, if you see two faces, not just mine, then that's us. That's Erin. And check us out. Okay. Well, thanks for doing this tonight. It really helped.
You.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.